how's it going, everybody? It is Josh Thomas here from the Bit Block. Welcome to a discussion video between myself and my good buddy, Mr. RogersBase.
What's going on-y?
What did you just say?
I said, what's going on-y?
What's going on-y?
Yeah.
Not much is going on-y. Just thought I'd invite you over to talk about the Nintendo Switch event that is occurring on January 12th at 8 p.m. Pacific Time.
Now, for full transparency's sake, why are we recording this at 1:30 a.m. in December, and why are we not recording this in January, closer to the actual Direct?
I'm glad you asked that. In January, the CPM for ad revenue dropped severely. So if we're going to talk about the Switch, we better talk about it now.
Get it while the money's hot!
Well, also, like you were mentioning before we started recording, it's not like we're going to learn anything new.
No, I mean, obviously, yeah, Nintendo's not going to announce anything over the Christmas break. It's not going to happen, so.
Right, so I figure, let's talk about this now. And also, we have not done a discussion together for a long time on this channel.
You say that, but we actually did one, like, 2 weeks ago. So.
That's a long time, and it was for the Nintendo world, right?
No, but we had, like, a stretch of, like, 2 months where we weren't doing any because there wasn't any news.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not that long.
Well, it's long to me. I miss you, Roger.
I miss you too, Josh. Yeah. Hey, you text me all the time, though, so I feel like it's not really...
This is true.
Yeah.
So listen, there's a variety of things that I wanted to go over talk about this. So we know, like I said, we know that it's going to be on January 12th. It's going to be 8 p.m. Pacific time. That is 9 p.m. for me and you, because you are going to be in the Chicago area for this time.
I will. I will be in Chicago.
So that's weird, first of all, that it's at night. Obviously, it's at night because it's going to be live from Tokyo.
Yes. I'm actually very happy about the fact that it's going to be at night because I have a dentist appointment in the morning and I'm seeing a movie at 5, so I'll be back in time for it. So.
Oh, man, how are you going to enjoy a movie knowing that when you go home, you are going to know so much about the Switch?
I mean, the movie will be over by the time the Switch event happens.
I know, but like what, an hour or two? So
I'll have like 1 hour where I'm just like sitting at home anxiously waiting for it to begin. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that it's at night too because I wake up at like 3 in the afternoon and stay up till 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of cool. I will say though, I don't know if I'm excited that it's live from Tokyo because that to me says there's going to be a lot of translating going on. And those generally tend to be very boring conferences to watch.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there are going to be like 2 streams happening. I think there's going to be one that's like an English stream and the one that's a Japanese stream. And I have a feeling that the English stream is probably going to have like Nintendo Treehouse people from North America like doing the translations. I think like the translations, because it's an international thing and it's not like something like that Nintendo Live event that happened for the 3DS where they had the conference and they announced stuff and it was kind of a boring English translation. I think this is going to be something where we're going to have people from the Treehouse, people like Bill Trinan, who are actually like live translating. Because he does that for stuff like E3. So I don't think they're not going to do that for this.
See, I mean... I would have preferred this to be something that was pre-recorded for like 40 minutes. Don't you think that would have given them a chance to... Because I feel this is it. Like, Nintendo really has to nail it. They have to
I think the reason they're not doing that is because I don't think they wanted to have any possible leaks at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'd say a lot of stuff is already leaked with this thing, to be
honest
with you.
Yeah. Like, the fact that we know about the Rabbids RPG and all that stuff, I think at that point...
Well, we know
that something like that leaks.
We know apparently Zelda is not going to be launched. It's going to be summer.
Right.
Super Mario Switch is going to be launched. Mario Kart looks like it's actually going to be launched as well.
Splatoon looks like a pack-in. Yep.
Well, I've also heard Splatoon is summer, by the way. The
Weird.
most recent thing I heard about that is that it's a summer release.
As of last week, it was a pack-in title for the deluxe SKU, so...
As of a few hours ago, I heard summer.
Oh my goodness. This is what happens when I'm at 2 Christmas parties and I'm covering One Piece news.
From a certain unnamed person, I will say a few hours ago, I heard summer.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Well,
I will tell you after we're done discussing this.
Cool. That does not seem fair to your listeners, but okay.
Screw them! No. Okay, so yeah, I mean, what do you think this is going to be like? We sit down and we've been waiting so long for this. Do you think it is going to deliver on the hype and the excitement, Or is it going to be a few boring Japanese businessmen slowly talking about what they plan on releasing for the system and then showing us footage?
No, absolutely not. This is going to be exciting. I mean, this is like Nintendo has been building up for this. Reggie was talking about it during even the Game Awards. He was like, tune in January. We're going to have our big blowout event. This is going to be massive. Like, we are going to see a ton of games. I think we're going to see games that aren't even going to come out for like another year on the Switch. This is going to be a big blowout event. I am so unbelievably excited. My hype cannot be higher for this Switch event. Honestly, I feel like they are going to knock it out of the park. And the fact that it's live to me says that we're sort of going to have the feeling of like a classic E3 conference. The only difference is it's going to take place in Tokyo instead of taking place in Los Angeles. But I think it's going to have the same level of excitement as like the Wii big conference in like 2006. I think it was 2006, right? The one where like Miyamoto came on stage and was directing things with like the Wii remote.
Yeah, that was E3.
I think it's going to be something like that for this. I think it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
I just got aroused when you said that because I'm thinking about my Papa Trump.
Oh, boy.
So I agree that I do think it's going to be really well presented. I think it's going to have an excitement about it. There is this little part of me that's like, uh-oh, this has the potential to be really boring. But I'm silencing that part of me because for once I just want to enjoy something and not go in with like this is going to suck
Yeah,
feeling.
with a negative. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say, I do remember there was like a 3DS or some kind of conference that they did, and it was just like, wow, this is really boring.
That's the one I just brought up. Yeah, the 3DS.
Right.
It was the one with the concert at the ending.
Yeah, and it was just not really exciting. And generally, I think it's more of a Western thing to be very loud and intense and, oh, look what we got. And in Japan, that's not really the mentality for Japanese business. So I'm hoping they go with the more Western approach to showing this off. Right?
Yeah, I think they probably will. I mean, like the fact, again, I think it's due to the push from North America. That's why I think it's going to be sort of like that level of excitement, like something like a classic E3 press conference. Because if you remember, like Nintendo of America never tweeted out like the 3DS conference you're talking about. Like that was specifically for a Japanese audience. It's just that it wasn't region locked. Like you could watch it if you were in North America, but it was not something they were actively promoting on their social channels. They were announcing some of the news from that on the social channels the next day, but like as the event happened live, that wasn't something that was living on the American Nintendo like social media pages.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point that I never really thought of. This is something that is globally advertised by all sections of Nintendo, so I think that they will keep all of their, all the world in mind with how this is going to be appealing.
Absolutely.
So we can both agree this is going to be exciting. This is going to be a big, exciting event. Let's go into more detail here. What games do you think they're going to show? How much are they going to show of those games? Let's hear it.
Okay, well, Switch. Super Mario Switch is probably going to be the biggest game that they show in terms of new games that they're focusing on. I think Mario Switch is going to have a massive presence at this. Does
Miyamoto demo it on stage?
Yes, yeah. I was gonna say I imagine like Miyamoto or another developer demoing it on stage, maybe demoing a couple levels, talking about like why they're doing what they're doing with it. I think it's gonna be big. I think they're gonna announce the release date of the Switch. I have a feeling they're gonna announce everything in regards to the launch of the Switch during this event. It'd be stupid for them to wait on any of that. I think we'll probably get more Breath of the Wild. The sad announcement that it's going to be delayed. It won't hit launch. I think, has they officially announced that yet? Have they officially announced that it's not going to be a launch title? I think that's something that's leaked.
Well, they also never officially said that it was a launch title.
Right. They never officially said it was, but they haven't officially deconfirmed it yet either. But I think this will be like the official deconfirmation. I think they're going to give a solid release date for Breath of the Wild. I think it's going to be in summer. I think we're going to see a lot of new footage of that, a new trailer. I think there's probably going to be a big segment on the Wii U ports. I don't think that each of those games is going to get like dedicated segments. I think they're going to talk about how they're going to be looking at those Wii U ports as basically like new games, and they're going to show off a lot of new content. I'm presuming the Smash Brothers port is going to be there, even though we haven't seen that in like the pre-release Switch footage. Like we already saw Mario Kart 8 and Splatoon. I think Smash Brothers is definitely going to be there. I'd imagine like a new character trailer for that. I think they're going to detail what's new about Mario Kart 8, probably the battle mode, the heavily rumored battle mode. I think they are going to show off all the new features for Splatoon as well. They'll probably confirm whether or not that's a summer title or whether that's going to be like the pack-in with the system. I think we're going to get a big focus on whatever that Rabbids Mario RPG game is going to be. And I think we're going to get one or two big surprises that are games that maybe aren't necessarily games that are going to be there at launch, but games that will be there within the first year. And I have a feeling those games are going to be whatever Retro Studios is working on and whatever Monolith Soft is working on.
So, yeah, I mean, looking ahead, obviously, in half a year from this conference, they're going to be at E3, and they're going to want new stuff for E3. So it's like, do they hold stuff back to where it's like, oh, well, we're not going to show tons of stuff because we need to save some for E3? Or is it like, no, we need to show tons of stuff, and we've got tons of stuff to show at E3 later on? Like, do you think E3 will impact how much they show of this system?
No, I don't think so. And the reason for this is because it's taking place in January, which is primarily when they've done those big blowout Nintendo Directs where they're like, here's a trailer for something that's coming out in 2 years. We're not going to show you anything else about it, but we're just telling you that it's been announced. And then E3 is normally where they build upon that stuff, where they're like, hey, remember the weird Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei game we teased like back in January 2 years ago? Well, here's the full trailer. And so I think that's probably going to be what the Switch event is. I think we're going to get like mini announcements for things where they're going to be like, stay tuned for E3 for more news on this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that I agree with you, like pretty much in all the things that you had mentioned. I think that we also have a possibility of seeing the much talked about Pikmin 4 or the Pikmin reboot, as it's apparently rumored to be.
Yep.
That's been in development, I think, aside from Zelda Breath of the Wild, that is like the longest developed Switch game that we kind of know of.
Yeah, because Miyamoto mentioned 2 years ago, this was 2014, done. That it was almost done, yeah.
Yeah, so that seems to be continuing this trend where Pikmin just kind of has this weird development cycle of being on one system and then moved over to another or something.
Yeah.
Because 2 years ago, I can't imagine they were working on like really solid Switch dev kits to where they were actually making a Pikmin game for it.
Yeah,
so
I don't think Pikmin's going to be a launch title.
No, I don't either, no.
I thought that when we did our discussion with Game Explain, I thought maybe. I don't think that anymore. I think Pikmin's going to be like a late summer, maybe like early fall type game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a feeling their big holiday title is going to be like something new that we're probably going to get announced at E3 or maybe a teaser of at this. And then I think Pokemon's going to be another big push. Because another prediction I have for the Switch event is I think the one port that's been rumored that I don't think we're going to hear anything about during this January Direct is Pokemon Stars, the rumored third version of Sun and Moon that's coming to Switch. Because I think Sun and Moon just came out, and I think they don't want to make people mad for people who just bought Sun and Moon, for them to be like, oh, the best version of this game is coming to the Switch in at the end of the year. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to wait till E3 to make that announcement. And also, that would be a massive announcement to make at E3, because that would be the first time that we're getting a mainline, full generation Pokemon game on a console. And so I think that's even a little bigger of a deal than the ports that are getting announced. Like the ports, even though they have new content, I do think it's a bigger deal that Pokemon Stars would be coming to the system. So,
yeah, I mean, and especially considering that, just visually speaking, that would probably look like an entirely new game just due to the power difference between the Switch and the 3DS. So I think that would just really look amazing.
Though to be fair, there are people who have modded the 3DS version and have just used the up-resed, high-res HD models and then thrown in some different effects like bloom lighting or whatever, and the game looks amazing. You could technically mod your 3DS if you're using a capture unit to make that game look like a Wii U game if you really wanted to right now. I know one YouTuber who does that, who does Pokemon Wi-Fi battles, is Shofu. He has been doing Wi-Fi battles using all of those mods, and it straight up looks like a console game.
Huh. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the thing that I kind of wonder is just how much they show, and I agree with you that, and I think most people are to this point as well, where it's like, okay, there's no more teasing. You can't tease us. You can't say, here's a little bit. You have to show us a ton. This has to be a big blowout. There's none of this, okay, we'll show you a few more things later on. I think this is the time. You're selling this thing in 2 months after you show this. So there can't really be this oh, stay tuned for the end of February. We got more. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And it's a good point you made about E3, how usually E3 is about sort of showing the complete, really showing what they teased.
Right.
So,
it's like where they build upon what they teased, right?
Yeah,
They showed the demos or, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, I'm sure they could have some new stuff for E3 as well. I mean, It's been so long since they've really been passionately releasing games for, like, the Wii U. I can't imagine a lot of their developers haven't been working on stuff behind the scene for a long time.
Yeah, I imagine, like I said, I think this is going to be the full first year of the Switch, is what we're going to see at this January thing. Like, we're going to get launch announcements, launch games, pricing, whatever for this, and I do think we're going to get announcements of some stuff going into the beginning of 2018. I think like the first full fiscal year is what they're going to build upon beyond Pokemon Stars and maybe a few surprises at E3. And then I think E3 is where they're going to tease some of the stuff moving into like later 2018, like maybe summer releases and stuff like that.
Yeah. So here's a few questions, maybe not really specifically related to games.
Sure.
Do we get the price? Do we get an exact date?
Yes.
And will we hear about stuff like Virtual Console and all that type of stuff at this event?
Yes to all three of those. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's another thing we're going to see at this is the long rumored announcement of a GameCube Virtual Console. Mm-hmm. And I specifically believe that we are going to get announcements of Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Super Mario Sunshine as the launch titles for the GameCube Virtual Console.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think if they were smart, even though it's not really even one that's been rumored, they should get some Pikmin Virtual Console GameCube stuff out there to kind of start, building up a Pikmin audience on this machine.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
There was also a rumor of Animal Crossing for the GameCube being worked on, and I think that would be another really cool Virtual Console release to talk about a bit and have ready within like the first 6 months.
Yeah, I definitely think having a re-release of Animal Crossing with the NES games intact is actually really cool. Like, I think that could be really, really cool, and it could tide people over for like a console Animal Crossing until they finally announce Animal Crossing, I think Animal Crossing seems like one of those games that maybe they'll be like, hey, we have the mobile game coming soon, but we're not going to talk about Animal Crossing just yet, and I think that might be one of their big E3 announcements. Because I don't think that's coming out in the first year, and but I think that's absolutely coming. Like, I think for sure. And I do see that as more of like an E3 announcement than an announcement at this. I think they have so much to talk about already that's already been rumored that I don't see Animal Crossing being here. I think of the stuff that hasn't been heavily rumored, I think the big thing that would be like the surprise that they could announce at this is Retro's game. Because Retro has been working on something for years now, and really no one knows what they're working on. And some people have rumored that it's a Metroid, but it's not in the same vein as Metroid Prime. Almost everybody unanimously agrees it's probably not a Donkey Kong game at this point, but I don't want to get my hopes too high because it could be. And a lot of people are saying it might be a new IP. So whatever it is, I'm excited. I love everything that comes out of Retro. So.
Well, Retro Studios has obviously been busy working on the concept art for the Donkey Kong minecart attraction at Universal. So that's
right.
Been busy. It's funny because I was actually thinking like a week or so ago how it's really weird how Rare managed to put out so many games every Nintendo console, yet Retro can only put out like one per console.
It's strange.
They're similar sized teams. So I don't know why Retro just takes so long to make just one game per console. So to
be fair, they also did a massive hiring rush at Retro recently. So I could maybe see them going down the path of Naughty Dog, where now they're having like 2 releases each year. Or like 2 different teams at least working on 2 different games.
Yeah.
And that might be a way to get around like, oh, we're getting a Metroid this time. Oh, we're getting a Donkey Kong this time. It could be like, well, no, one team works on Donkey Kong, one team works on Metroid. Or maybe one of those games we don't get right away and then we get the new IP and then one of those older IPs that they've already worked on. Because that would be the only way that I'd be okay with another Donkey Kong so soon, is I think if we got Donkey Kong Country 3 or whatever, Returns 3, and we got a new IP, or we got a new Metroid, that would be cool.
I don't think you have to be so worried about a new Donkey Kong side-scrolling game from Retro. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think they did it. That was it. They did
never say never, man. Never say never. I mean, not to say I love those games. We've talked about this ad nauseum.
Yeah,
I really like both of them.
They're great games.
They're great. I just want them to do something different. Yeah.
They're too talented to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I don't think the team at Retro likes doing that, because that's a lot of them left after they had to make a third Metroid.
Right.
So I think they want some creative freedom, and I think having them work on multiple games like Rare used to would definitely give them that. And I think they're my favorite developer from Nintendo, and so I really want to see them work on a lot of stuff for the Switch. It would be amazing if we get to see what they've been working on.
They're your
in
favorite?
January.
They're your favorite?
Yeah.
More than
absolute
Tokyo
favorite.
EAD? That is like, to me, that's my all-time favorite.
Well, yeah, I used to say Tokyo EAD, but then Super Mario 3D World came out, and yeah, I'm not really the biggest fan anymore.
All right. I'm sticking with Tokyo EAD. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Did you like 3D World?
I loved the music in 3D World, and I accepted it for what it was, and I knew that they wanted to rush out a 3D game, and so they just basically went the route of like 3D Land, and they were like, hey, let's put this on a console, and like, so I mean, I understand why they did it, and I liked the music, like I said, but I know they're working on cool stuff, and in EAD I trust. And I still think 3D World was a great game, so even though it wasn't my exact cup of tea or what I wanted, I still think it was a really well put together, great game.
Between Super Mario Galaxy 2 and 3D World, they started to kind of lose me as a fanboy.
And I loved Galaxy 2. Like, I didn't like certain aspects of Galaxy 2, but I still loved the level design, and I loved the music and everything about it, so.
I enjoyed it, but it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, EAD Tokyo's not perfect. We'll definitely see what their game's going to be in January, because it's the Super Mario Switch game, and that's going to be, like you said, the highlight of this whole damn thing.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to be? Have they announced that? They haven't really said how long this is, have they?
No, I think it's probably going to be like 40 minutes to an hour, is my guess.
Yeah, I hope it is lengthy. We've been waiting a long time for this, so...
It's not going to be like 20 minutes. Like, that's a guarantee. There's no way. There's no way they could... In 20 minutes, there's no way they could even show and demo, like, new Breath of the Wild stuff, new Mario stuff, and announce, like, launch pricing, games, everything. They can't. Like, that's going to have to at least be 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, I hope it's an hour. I would really
be
excited to be able to sit down just for an hour and give us the thing that we've waited so patiently for.
I mean, the old E3 conferences were like an hour and a half. Some of those were like 90 minutes long. So this could be that. Could be that length. Who knows?
It'd be amazing. Is there, the thing about this is there's a lot of stuff that it seems like we know. Is there going to be much that we don't actually know? Will there be a lot of like, oh my God, that came out of left field?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but I'm not expecting it. Just because we know so much. And all of that stuff is obviously heavily rumored, but none of it's been confirmed. And so I think they're going to need to take the time to actually talk about all of it. And we'll finally find out like exact specifics, and there won't be like weird, foggy rumors going back and forth. Like I said, I think if there is a big surprise game, I think it'll be something like whatever Retro's working on, or like Pikmin. I think those will be like the sort of out of left field shocker kind of things. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, and by the way, here's a new, revival of Mock Rider developed by Sakurai. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. But make me eat my words, Nintendo. I would love that. Show off some weird revival. Show off some new IP. Show off something like a Splatoon type new IP. Something that's fresh and original and a totally new genre that they haven't gone into before. That'd be great.
I think you're going to get that. I actually genuinely think there's
so.
going to be some game that's like really completely out of nowhere and is really excited. Maybe it's a revival of some classic thing. But I think, I think you're going to get that, because otherwise that means we're going to see like the Sakurai game and the retro game and like all this crazy stuff would be at E3. So I think maybe taking one of those big things and putting it at this event would be smarter.
Cool.
Because Sakurai's been working on a game for a while, by the way.
Yeah, but now that with the rumors coming out with the new content for Smash 4 and the port, I feel like he'd want to overlook those new characters.
But that would be a supervising role, not necessarily like a directorial role.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, that's just literally popping in maybe every few days to a week to make sure that everything's staying on course.
Yeah, I do think he is working on something else, though. I think my favorite development house is EAD, but I think my favorite developer is Sakurai. And so I am extraordinarily excited to see what he worked on. I've never been disappointed in a Sakurai game, ever. Even like his weird stuff, like Kid Icarus Uprising and Meteos, like Kirby Air Ride, I've loved all of it.
Air Ride is maybe one of the most underrated Nintendo games I've ever played.
Incredible, yeah. And it's crazy that at the time Air Ride came out, that was getting like 6s and 7s, because I play Air Ride to this day, and I think it's just a masterpiece.
I think reviewers during the GameCube era were like really picky. Like strangely picky, and I think nowadays they're too easy on Nintendo.
I agree.
Where's our happy medium?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be I'm so excited. It's so amazing because it's like I'm really in the Christmas mood, so I'm excited about Christmas. I'm thinking
Right?
Christmas. So this is just sneaking up on me. I'm like, occasionally I'll find myself looking at the calendar and realizing like, oh my god, it's less than a month away.
What's funny is we're having we're right smack dab in the middle of the 12 days of Christmas right now. Christmas is going to happen. We're going to have like a nice little 4-day breather. And then boom, it's New Year's.
Yep.
And then,
crazy.
well, a 5-day breather, I guess. And then it's New Year's. And then 12 days of Nintendo Switch. And then we're there. Like, that's it. That's literally what this is. 12 days of Christmas, a little week-long break, 12 days of Nintendo Switch.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's great.
So to end this, I want us to pick the one thing that we are most excited about to see on this event.
Okay. This is a weird choice,
Okay.
but I'm going to go with it. I cannot wait for them to go over GameCube Virtual Console. That is something. Yeah, that is something that I wanted throughout the entire course of the Wii U's lifespan, and the idea of playing Super Smash Bros. Melee or even Super Mario Sunshine on a portable system or seeing those games up-resed in HD is just like so exciting to me. And having Melee get a re-release is something I've wanted since I was literally 11 years old. So, because Melee came out in 2001. So I cannot wait for that. And I think the possibilities of having a GameCube Virtual Console and the games, the weird, rare games that were on GameCube that didn't really get the love that they deserved during that era, that will end up being re-released on the Switch is just like crazy exciting to me. Because I'm obviously super pumped to see more Super Mario Switch and of Breath of the Wild. But I mean, I already know that I'm excited for those games. And GameCube Virtual Console is sort of like this weird, open-ended thing that they could go really hard on, or they could just sort of be like, and here's this extra thing. And I'm excited to see if they're really going to be like, you know what? No, we're really going to push GameCube re-releases on this thing. And yeah, that gets me really, really excited. I know it's a weird choice. I mean, if I had to like be completely honest, I think probably Mario or Zelda. But I feel like, I don't know, in terms of like an exciting announcement, an exciting confirmation from them, Melee. Yeah, Melee on Switch. That's crazy to me.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the answer I wanted. I wanted something that would be more specific to you, more personal. And
Yeah.
I can definitely see how that would be very exciting for
Yeah.
you. I was always wondering when the hell we were going to get the announcement of GameCube coming to Wii U. Obviously,
Yeah.
that never happened.
Yeah.
They're going to make so much damn money off of GameCube Virtual Console sales. They're going to be blown
Loads
away.
and
I think they're going to be
loads of money.
surprised. They are going to be surprised by just how popular a lot of those games are going to be. I mean, you go to eBay, a lot of them are still full price almost,
Yep.
used. Even without the case. Like Mario Party 6 without the case was like $35.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is going on here? So my pick is going to be another one that's maybe a little bit strange. It's very specific. I am really hoping the rumors are true about a totally revamped battle mode in Mario Kart 8 for the Switch.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know I've said this before, but I am a huge, huge fan of just how fun the battle mode can be, playing it online with friends. I have tons of memories of playing Mario Kart Wii's battle mode online with my cousin and Nick, and we would just get so into it, and we would like gun after one person because they angered us. And it's a really fun thing, and I feel like that is a big part of Mario Kart's personality, and to rip that away, and it's been kind of falling apart for like a few installments in the series. And, Mario Kart 7, it
Yep.
kind of sucked as well. So I just really would love nothing more than to see this battle mode that has a lot of attention and love and care put into it. And if this is a port of Mario Kart 8, I don't see any excuses as to why they couldn't have extra time to really do that.
Yeah.
So to me, that is going to be. I mean, I will give you guys a Roger type reaction to that if it ends up happening. It will be a massive reaction. I can promise.
I am excited for that. I want to know what a Josh type, Roger type reaction would be. Like Josh imitating RogersBase. That's great.
But naturally, not even doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I remember my reaction to seeing Super Mario Galaxy for the first time is I literally did have tears in my eyes with excitement from that.
Oh man.
Like that was such a special, amazing moment that I genuinely was that like worked up.
I mean, I remember, even though it was weird that because it wasn't like a totally new character, I know like the craziest I've gotten is definitely when Lucas was announced as DLC for Smash 4.
Really?
I thought Lucas was like never coming back, and I just like I didn't expect them to announce more DLC past Mewtwo, and so the fact that like that Lucas announcement happened, and then right after they're like, oh, by the way, and we have this spider ballot where you could vote on the new Smash Brothers character. That blew my mind. You can go back and watch the Lucas reaction. People thought I was like hamming it up. I was not. Like, I was in tears and could not breathe that Lucas was announced for Smash Brothers and that we were getting a fighter ballot.
Did you play as Lucas in Brawl or something?
All the time. Yeah, I love Lucas. He's like one of my favorite characters. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my main in Brawl, but I would switch him to the blue colors, and I would call him Blucas.
Blucas.
And the reason for that is I have a pair of shoes that is almost 100% identical to the blue shoes that he wears.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think
So
after Lucas of the new characters, the one that probably got the biggest reaction out of me was probably Cloud. Which is funny because
that got a reaction
didn't
out
care.
of me too. But,
yeah, you just like
that got a reaction out of me, but it was the exact opposite.
Yeah, negative. For me, it was unbelievable. It was like Final Fantasy and a Smash Brothers game. This is crazy. I mean, like, obviously, I'm super excited for the possibility of Melee on Switch. But now that I'm thinking about it again, and I was talking about that, I think the other big thing I'm really excited about, it's weird that the things we're most excited about are like new content in the ports, but like, hey, who cares? The possibility of new characters in Smash Brothers. Seeing the return of Ice Climbers and then potentially a newcomer, like maybe Inklings or someone totally random. Seeing how many new characters there could be, like, that's exciting. And that's probably something we're going to see. So
yeah, I really have learned lately how much I wish the Ice Climbers were in Smash Brothers still. I've been working on an Ice Climber related project.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking, like, every time I'm working on it, I'm always like, man, the Ice Climbers should be in Smash Brothers again.
They'll be back come January 12th. I'm telling you.
Hopefully, yeah.
No, they'll be back.
They're such a unique fighter, and it's a really cool character in Smash Brothers. I think that they need to get themselves back in there.
Yep.
So Roger, I think we're going to end it there.
Cool.
And, we'll chat about this a lot in the future, obviously, when all this stuff goes down, when it's actually shown.
Of course.
But in the meantime, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet?
They already know. I mean, how many of these have we done? I mean, RogersBase on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, and Twitch. You already know. So
the information is clickable in the video description.
Yep. And
Roger, with that, this will probably be the last time that we talk about this event until it happens.
It's probably the last. Well, no, we'll probably do one more discussion by the end of 2016.
You think so?
Probably, yeah.
About the Switch event?
Maybe not about the Switch event, but we'll probably do another Nintendo discussion at some point before the end of 2016. Yeah. We'll probably do like a year in review one, maybe. Because we didn't really do that for your channel. We'll probably do that for yours. We did the Game of the Year on mine. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll plug the Game of the Year discussion we just did on my channel, on your channel. Because that's something that I think a lot of people would be interested in. And I think our group, it was you, me, Andre, Nintendan, and Bill, and that was a weird mix of choices. I think we had one, but it was a really good discussion. Yeah, I would highly recommend people listen to it. So
I got yelled at for eating a candy cane.
That was a funny moment. Yeah.
So yeah, guys, thank you very much for listening.
Woohoo!